to anchor your conversation in really this idea of being curious about who they are and how that might be similar or different from what was important to you at that particular age. So it's just really all about avoiding making quick connections or assumptions that might not be accurate anymore, because those kinds of things are what really, without us realizing it, put a wedge between us and our clients, and they feel like, well, I can't relate to this person, or they don't really understand what matters to me. So we want to avoid assumptions that might inadvertently create some distance between us and our clients without us realizing it.
Okay, so let's play that out a little further. How could a financial professional really blow it when it comes to this, identifying your assumptions? Like, what would be an example where they just really could really kind of get a relationship off to a bad start based on how they might make some assumptions and it could go south?
I think the most common way I've seen this go wrong is entering into a conversation from a position of, again, assuming that we know and understand what life is like, or what the priorities are of our client. So an example of that might be thinking back to the fact that when you were in your late 20s, you were ready to buy a house, that you were thinking of getting married, that you had plans for building a family or children. And so, of course, your financial goals would be anchored around those things. So entering in with that perspective that those are priorities for a client, hey, you're probably thinking about getting married and settling down, or, home ownership is something that, really would be important for you right now from a financial perspective. I think those things can immediately put off a perception that this person is out of touch with what my reality is as a young person growing up today. I think it also can surface in assumptions about what financial freedom might look like. It can surface in, really just being anchored in things that may no longer be their reality. So I think just entering in with very good intentions that you have an assumption that is off base can really start things off on the wrong foot.
That's great. And so what would be a different approach? I know in the article we said one angle was, hey, I know things have changed a lot since I was your age. What's really important to you in your life now? Is that a better approach, or can you describe like how an advisor might avoid making those assumptions at the beginning of a conversation?
I think one of the things that can be difficult when you are an expert is that as experts, we tend to enter into relationships and conversations wanting to provide the information and the knowledge that we are being hired to give. And we often start with that, and starting with that, I think, can really be a problem in that it can really make, I hope you have the ability to edit. There is a neighbor's dog, I'm sure that you can hear barking. Hold on.
We can, but I think in this day and age, people get it.
Okay. Well, so the neighbor's dog is happy to join the conversation. So I believe that, when we think about entering into those conversations instead with curiosity and saying, I think it's really fantastic that, you're here meeting with me. I would love to hear about what your goals are, and I would love to learn more about who you are. One of the things we do know about younger generations, and this isn't a stereotype, this is a solid generational norm that we've seen, is they have a strong interest in being seen as unique, in not being lumped into categories that other people have decided make sense for them. They have unique identities and stories. And I think beyond just giving people a script, which I would never recommend doing, I think it's really, more important that you enter in with the right mindset, that I want to get curious about who this person is. And that alone is going to start building really essential levels of trust with your client, because younger people might assume that an older advisor is going to, not be interested in their story, or they might assume that they're not going to necessarily get respect that maybe their parents or grandparents would get with a financial advisor who might, because they don't necessarily have as many funds, or they're not as established in their life. And so I think just entering in with that attitude of, I'm really interested in who you are and what matters to you, is the best piece of advice that I can give.